Following Ireland Yearly Meeting 2 years ago, friends from across Ireland were very keen to come and learn more about the work of Quaker Service and come and see that work firsthand.
Halfway up the mountain, here we go, here we go.
We began with a bit of an introductory session where we looked at the background, the origin to Quaker Service, and where 50 years ago the roots of Quaker Service began from the emerging conflict. Within Quaker Service, we seek to serve the most vulnerable, the most isolated in our society, in our communities. Or we'll serve those that society has forgotten or at times chosen to forget. If we can approach those in real crisis without judgment and without any sense of questioning, and just meet them as a fellow human being and seek to support and to serve them, then we can do brilliant things. Saturday was a busy day. Saturday was our main day of the weekend. First stop was South Belfast Meeting, which is just opposite the offices of Quaker Service, where John Parker, the retail development manager of our social enterprise, Quaker Care, shared with friends the work of that social enterprise. And Rory Doherty, our societal change project manager, and two of his team, two of the young people that work alongside him, Finn and Keeley, give a very good and very detailed presentation on the societal change project, which is a new area of work for Quaker Service.
Northern Ireland has its highest suicide rates in the whole of the UK, and suicides in the most deprived areas that we work are 3 times higher than the rest. Those who died by suicide has outstripped those that were killed during the conflict since the signing of the Good Friday Agreement.
The young people we've worked with in the past, along with additional young people coming to us, are being supported in, I suppose, delving into their own stories and getting a better understanding of what their challenges are and what they want to see change in their society. So in the Societal Change Project, storytelling is really at the heart of that work. Storytelling allows, in a really supported way, young people to explore their own background, explore their own story. So we jumped on the bus and headed for our lunch stop, held at New Life City Church, which is an evangelical church based right on the Peace Line.
This building is located right on the dividing line between the Shankill Road and the Falls Road, between the Protestants and the Catholics side. You're sitting in the Protestant side right now. If you were down our sports hall would be on the Catholic side. We have gates attached to our building here that goes along this main road where you drove around coming into this facility. And I think you probably came through the gates to come here. But those gates close every day at 6:30. Every day. And the only reason they're closing is because the paramilitaries on both sides want them to remain closed at night, because it perpetuates the whole idea of division. So if you remove the walls and you remove the gates, then you're removing the appearance of division, and people will question more why the paramilitaries need to exist. The organisations on both sides have never stopped recruiting, and while they may well have decommissioned some of their weapons, they didn't decommission all of their weapons, and they've definitely replenished what they've decommissioned. Of that there's no doubt. So paramilitary groups on both sides are armed. Well, I remember talking to Johnny there several times. Most of you probably remember that name. Mm-hmm. And I remember challenging him, and I said, look, I don't want you to kill anybody, but why are you killing innocent Catholics? If you know the men that are involved in the IRA, why not target them? And his response was, if we kill an IRA man, most of the Catholics won't even care about him. But if we kill innocent Catholics, then that'll strike fear into the Catholic community. And that was the mindset. That's the mindset.
After we had lunch, we had the opportunity to drive from the city church along Cooper Avenue, where the Peace Line lines both sides of that road. We had a chance to stop there. Friends were able to get off the bus and actually go and see the peace wall close up and see the depiction the whole way along that section of the wall where paintings have been put in place showing the divided cities across the world from Palestine to Nicosia and Cyprus, and all of the different peace lines that still exist, and the parallels that are drawn there to Belfast. So I think we locally remain challenged by the existence and the scale of the peace line in Belfast, and I certainly think that visiting friends were really quite taken aback. So really useful opportunity for us to just see that reality and that context before we drove from there the very short distance up the mountain to Quaker College.
Quaker Cottage originated in the early 80s. It was a very difficult time in Belfast. It was the height of the Troubles. Our housing estates down below us here were mixed to a certain extent, but there was almost an ethnic cleansing going on at that time where a small number of Catholics from Protestant areas were having to leave, and the same on the other side. People literally put all their furniture on top of their car and got 24 hours to get out. And Quakers opened their meeting houses in those days and gave support to families until they got rehoused. And out of all that, Quaker Cottage grew. We had the opportunity to get a little old cottage up on the side of a mountain, but the beauty of it was that it was neither seen as Catholic nor Protestant, and almost everywhere in Belfast is identified as nationalist or loyalist. There was 2 lanes coming up to here, one from North Belfast, one from West Belfast. It was a perfect spot. And we got Quaker work groups to come over and tidy up these buildings and make an old cattle byre into a playroom, and we made it sufficient that we could get a program running here and bring Catholic and Protestant families together. So all the families that come here are referred by a professional, and that could be a social worker, a doctor, health visitor, educational welfare officer, psychiatrist, whatever. And we don't have fixed criteria on the type of person that comes to us, but they tend to be the families possibly have the lowest self-esteem and the least amount of support, and quite often the ones that social services find difficult to engage with, and somehow they seem to feel comfortable with us and coming to our centre, opening up and talking.
See Quakers, I see Quakers, oh don't you, oh don't you. Halfway up the mountain, here we go, here we go. Yay! We'll go again.
This week is my cooking week, which just means we cook for all the babies, for all the mums, and then if there's things for the after schools, we also cook for the after school kids. So this week I decided to make spaghetti bolognese at the start of the week, and then at the end of the week I made meatloaf. So to me the cooking week is really interesting because it's kind of a time to push the boundaries a little bit with the moms of what they're what they're comfortable eating and what they usually would eat, while also providing things that are nutritionally whole, I guess.
3 years ago I was going through a hard time and my health visitor referred me to here, and I thought that'd be no good, and then I came. It was the best thing I ever done. Like, it's my second time back now, and it's just really good. The kids really learn from it and meet new kids, and I really loved it, getting to meet new mummies coming to relax, and the kids are playing, getting your lunch handed to you without having to do anything. Whenever I left here the first time, I felt lost. I was like, what am I going to do with my days now? And then we went on a residential whenever I was here down to Carmilla. It was the best thing. It was the best time I've ever had away.
I started coming when I was a younger child, but then as I was getting older as a teenager, I was getting arrested, taking drugs, never going home, shoplifting. When I was younger, my daddy was an alcoholic. When I heard I was coming as a mummy, I was just delighted. And I come here with Ariana, and my Ariana has Down syndrome. And I didn't think that up here would have took special needs kids, but obviously they do. And they do so much for Ariana. Ariana learns so much. And you can definitely see the difference. I can see the difference in all the kids. From I started here 6 months ago, you can definitely see the difference in all the kids. It's amazing what they do with them, it really is. Just when you come here, you're not judged about anything that you say. You can come up here and you can talk about anything. Wouldn't change nothing at all. The place is amazing, the staff is amazing. I mean, it hasn't changed from when I came from when I was a teenager, so I don't think anything should change now. You know, nothing needs to be changed, honestly. Well, that's my opinion.
You can come here and you can be yourself. You can open up, and you can really talk about anything. And you've good laughs to get you out of your house too. And the atmosphere's just, it's good. As a person, you feel comfortable. Things you haven't been able to talk about back home, you're able to come here and open up, because you're getting you're getting the support, and nobody cares about anything. You just be yourself.
The Shankill bombing, that was me, my mum and dad was actually, and my older brother was actually on the way up to that shop. The shop next door, the fruit and vegetable shop next door, we were on our way up to there when the bomb went off. So we were lucky to still actually be alive. I remember waking up at night times and all you can hear is like gunshots and stuff, and it'd be constantly on the news, like a bomb was found under such and such car, and it's just scary. But it was nice to get away from it. That's why we did move, because they didn't want us to grow up in that. We all sit in our group and we're like a team, like our own. There's no religion separating or anything, it's just, we're just one and that's it.
But the thing about it is they trust us, and just to even let us work with their children, because some of them have had so many sad childhood experiences, and they do underneath want to keep their children safe, and for them to let us be a part of their lives is an absolute privilege. It's just for them to come up and feel that it's okay to come up here and to share and talk to other mums, maybe very similar things or maybe different things, but realising that everybody's life is just a wee bit different, and how we can support each other and how they can support each other. I think that's a big thing, that the mums, we may be here to support, but I think the mums find out early that they support each other, and they don't realise that the actual support they do give to each other.
We've all had issues in their life, and that's why we're all here.
Quaker Cottage feels like a very different place to where they normally go. So they can see their own communities below, a lot of them can see their own houses below, but it's like you come out of that, you're above it, you're different or separate from it, and this is a place of solace for them. And they know they're cared about, and some of them find that a little strange at first, that people who don't even know them are showing love, care, affection towards them and their children. But it quickly becomes a place that's so important in their lives.
I think that's that Quaker mission, that that everybody has value, that every being has value, to give, to be in service of others, to be non-judgmental, and to provide a space where families can be themselves and get the support that they need. That's your ethos, that's your mission right there. I would love to see more communication between, let's say, the Quaker community and what's happening at Quaker Cottage. I would like to see more outdoor space for the kids to play in. If I had to really pick something huge, that would be it.
So those early days were difficult. The troubles were still going on. There was lots of times when there was conflict situations in Belfast, and we were driving our buses from one side to the other. One of our buses got stopped. There was vehicles being taken and burnt on the roads to cause roadblocks and things. And our bus was stopped, and our German volunteer was told to get out of the bus, and the bus was going to be taken. One man stepped out of the crowd and he said, "Hold on a minute, that's a Quaker bus. They helped us in the famine." Let it go. Yes. And our bus was let to go and turn around and come back again. Thanks, Quakers.
One of the highlights of the trip for lots of people was getting a chance to go up to Quaker Cottage. Not because it's a lesser or greater project than the others, but because Quaker Cottage has been established for so long, and it's been in the mind of friends for so long. And because the work there with families is so delicate, it's obviously quite a private place. We headed up from Quaker Cottage then, over the mountains that surround Belfast, and then dropped down towards Maghaberry and on to the visitor centre at HMP Maghaberry. In the visitor centre at Maghaberry, we were joined by two of our long-term volunteers there.
They do accept us, but we've still got a little way to go, I think, to prove ourselves to them. We are there to show that we're not part of the authority. We do one-to-one visiting, which, as I say, I do. We also do what they call circles of support to support long-term prisoners that are about to be released. Yeah, I visit somebody at the moment who is going to go into circles soon, hopefully. He's been in for 24 and a half years. And when I tell you that he's not yet 40.
Bad news, good news and bad news. The bad news is the place closes at 5, so we've got to finish by 5. The good news is there's lots of spare beds here, all right? The bad news is you have to share, all right, 4 to a room. Hobby group is in a cell, and it's basically a 2-man cell, so we're talking about, you know, size like so, you know. 2-man cell, and there's a workbench, and there's myself and possibly 3 guys. And it's a funny sort of thing because initially I'm briefed, right, Andy, you know, we'll keep the cell door open and we can monitor you, and the cameras are there, we can monitor you and the cameras, and all that's fine. And there's a toolbox here, and you take the tools in and you do what you have to do, so fine. You have to really play it by ear, and I mean, like Jan, am I anxious? You know, could something happen? Possibly. You trust the Almighty, and you say, look, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. You know, but I think it's important that, you know, well, I feel it's just important that you approach these guys honestly and openly, and if you trust them, that trust will be reciprocated. I don't feel threatened by these guys in any way whatsoever. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, I'm not being naive, but it's just, you know, these are human beings, guys who have done bad things, they're serving their time, and one is trying to sort of, you know, help them out a bit. So
it's a challenging role that these befrienders undertake, and all of our befrienders are volunteers. We have a huge volunteer team, and it's important that these individuals are volunteers. They're not volunteers because they cost us less as an organisation. They're volunteers because when you're going in to visit someone, it's a really subtle but profound difference in going in to visit somebody and being paid to do so, and going in to visit somebody as a volunteer, where they know that you're there because you want to be there and you want to spend time with them and you want to draw alongside them. Saturday evening we had our evening session. In that session we had an opportunity just to sit in a circle of friends and talk and reflect on what we had seen and heard during the day. To hear how emotionally moved friends were by what they had seen and what they had witnessed, both in terms of our projects and in terms of the context in which we work, was a really, really useful exercise for us. And I think, you know, as friends, we're all quite humbled and remain humbled by the work that the staff and the volunteers at Quaker Service undertake.
I'd like to say how impressed I was with the people we met and their commitment. Yes. And I have now learnt that Quaker means Quaker Service and Friends means Friends School Lisburn.
Yes. In our closing session on Sunday morning, Jeanette McNaught, our director, joined us and outlined the challenges of running a charity like Quaker Service and the financial challenges of that. Jeanette also outlined all of the various ways that Friends, both locally within Ireland and further afield, can support Quaker Service.
And we as staff feel that we're doing this work on behalf of Friends. They wanted this to happen, and we make it happen every day. Sometimes we feel there's a detachment, that Friends can't come. It's not a voyeuristic place where you can stand and observe what we do and see what we do. And I'm hoping by letting the cameras come in today that you're able to get a glimpse, and it is only a glimpse, of some of the work. Some of it's very heartbreaking, it's very hard, it's very humbling to see people's lives that are so difficult. And sometimes we wonder, is there an understanding of what it's really like for some of these families to grow up in West Belfast and meet those struggles every day? And it's also a puzzle to me to know, are we doing the right thing? Are we doing what you want us to do? And if so, can you give us more support? Because it's a struggle to do this, it's tight. Our budgets are restricted every year. We just feel the pressure. I'm here 30 years, so is most of the furniture, so are most of the fittings. We haven't done much change, we just live with it and get on with it. And that's okay up to a point, but we've come to a point where we need the help, we just need more support. And if we're doing this work for Quakers, then I'm appealing to you. If you're a Quaker, can you help us a little bit more? Thank you very much.